Okay, my friends, we are in for a very interesting session. I do chemistry, I do biology, I do anatomy, I do all those things. And I understand the way biology works in the human body, and it's all chemistry. We're going to be talking about spontaneous human combustion, and I think I understand it now. Now, this was sent to me this morning by George with a J Priera, and I thank him for, turning me on to this. This is exceptionally well done, and this is by a channel called the Y Files. All right, let's listen to this. I'm telling you, this guy did his homework, and that's you. You have to do your homework. You can't just guess at these things. Listen to the detail. And I'm doing this under the Fair Use Act. I'm not trying to steal it. I'm trying to comment on why these people are combusting.
You call out, but there's only silence. The air is warm. There's a sweet, smoky smell, but nothing looks out of place. Finally, you go into the living room and you see it. In your mom's favorite chair is a pile of smoldering ash, completely unrecognizable as human. And just as you convince yourself that this isn't your mother, you see her jewelry in the gray dust. And then the grisly sight of your mother's feet, still in their slippers, on the floor by the ashes. There was a fire, an intense fire, but aside from her chair, nothing is burned. Even stranger, everything in the house is covered with a thin layer of pale yellow grease. Your mother was a victim of spontaneous human combustion. Though rare, it happens more often than you think. According to at least one scientist, it could happen to anybody at any time. Even you.
I'd love to work with these guys. I'm exactly the same way. Why? Why is this? Give me an answer. I don't want to hear you say, oh, it must be this, it must be that. No. Why specifically? And this was very well done. All right, you should come up and watch this, but he's going to make a bunch of different points, and I'm going to address those points. Why is this person combusting? And he's going to be talking about electrical outlets and, a lot of things that might be a problem, yes or no, but I think I have it down to why they've got these fat layers laying around. And he's talking about most of them were serious drinkers, alcohol. Now, which will affect the chemistry in your body 100%, no question. Now, how it affected, I'm not sure. But it appears to be common that that's part of the deal. Now, they all burn from the inside out, which makes sense because it's like concrete. When you put that together, it gets hotter than hell inside. It doesn't come from outside coming. It comes from inside coming out. And it's basically similar to, like, when you put a compost pile up and then all of a sudden it combusts because the heat is inside there. It's starting to form that sort of stuff. All right, and now I'm going to go into my assessment of what he said. Now, what you should do is come up and watch this. And again, this is from the Y Files, WF question mark, spontaneous human combustion, solved, unsolved, and the truth. Well, let's see if we can get to that. Okay, he's talking about puddles of human fat tissue underneath these bodies in some cases, and other cases, well, in all cases apparently, there's a layer that layers everything with this fatty residue. Now, adipose tissue is your body fatty tissue. In animals, adipose tissue or fatty tissue is the body's means of storing metabolic energy. Metabolic means breaking up molecules, and energy means energetically doing it. And you normally store those over extended periods of time. Well, what if they went just like that? What would happen? Let's just think about that. But adipocytes, which are the fat cells, store fat derived from the diet and from liver metabolism. Well, do you recall I'm talking about alcoholism? Or every single time they talk about alcoholism. Alcoholism is a real problem for your liver. It causes damage to the liver. And metabolism is a set of life-sustaining chemical reactions that happen in here. When you keep throwing alcohol after alcohol after alcohol, it damages the tissue. Let's just go with that. So the three main purposes of metabolism are the conversion of the energy in the food to energy available to run cellular processes, and it goes on. Nucleic acids and so forth, proteins, lipids, that's fats. Now, this is where this chemistry is being done, and they're talking about alcoholics. Now, I don't know what that exactly does in the blood and in the liver, but it's interesting that they were always talking about being a serious alcoholic. A lot of the times they're talking about that on the spontaneous human combustion. Now, there is such a thing as enzymes. Enzymes are catalysts. Catalysts cause molecular changes inside. They don't have to come from outside. They break down the chemicals all inside. Just like when you mix up concrete. Or you put it together, you just mix it up, and all of a sudden you come back, it's hotter than hell. That's a chemical internal reaction, and the same thing happens in this spontaneous combustion. It appears to me, I'm seeing this as an absolute fact that it's occurring. Now, why? There's just too much evidence to say that it's just not there. I haven't really dug deep into it, but I think I've seen enough to support a knowledge that it's valid. And I'm looking at it as a chemical reaction now. What chemistry would cause that? And then it leads me to this alcoholism. Now, then it leads me to kidney, metabolism. Liver. And, well, kidney too, but the whole thing is organs. Well, anyway, let's just dig a little deeper. All right, check this out. All combustion reactions are oxidation reactions. A combustion reaction occurs when a material reacts with oxygen gas and produces energy in the form of light and heat. So if you had an extreme amount of oxygen gas inside your blood supply, for some reason, because you had an imbalance of chemistry in there, and it created what's called catalase, and created oxygen, you could burn up internally without having an explosion. Now don't forget, this is exactly what it's saying. The material reacts with oxygen gas and produces energy in the form of light and heat. Alright, let's see what we got. Alright, you gotta check this out. This is amazing. This is Crazy Russian Hacker. And he's got this thing, blood versus hydrogen peroxide. Now, well, you got blood in your body, obviously, or you're not doing too well. Now, you also have hydrogen peroxide in your body. It's in the form of what they call catalase. And it's something that keeps the oxygen levels low in your body normally. Alright, this is the Crazy Russian Hacker. This is amazing. Watch this now. We're talking about releasing oxygen to form these heat processes that combust these people. Now, he's got hydrogen peroxide in here. All that is instead of water, H2O. It's H2O2. So there's additional oxygen attached to the water molecule. Now, when we put blood in there, watch what happens. This is, again, Crazy. Did I show you his page? Crazy Russian Hacker. Crazy Russian Hacker. Blood versus hydrogen peroxide. Here we go. Crazy Russian Hacker, take 2. Watch that. Look at what happens when he puts a little bit of blood in that hydrogen peroxide.
What if we drop a lot more?
Look at that now.
Pretty amazing, huh?
That's all
Let's try this
oxygen.
again. First I'm gonna put hydrogen peroxide, 3%, into a container. Now I'm gonna grab some blood and pour it in that hydrogen peroxide and let's see what happens.
Boom.
Pretty incredible. So, tell me in comments below.
Okay, here's the key. Magnetism is what all particles are. They're magnetic particles. Magnetism, which is electromagnetic spectrum, magnetism, part of visible light, which is also part of magnets, it's a force field that moves at the speed of light. So it's moving at the speed of light. So if I put a magnet over here, boom, it's everywhere at the same time. It's instantaneous. And that's specifically what they're doing with when he puts that blood into that hydrogen peroxide. It's click chemistry. All they got to do is go, beep, and it's everything goes at once. That's what an enzyme does. All right, we're going to be looking for some enzymes, and they are the proteins and proteins are unbelievably complicated little buggers like this. And they speed up chemical reactions, and I mean speed them up. And they're essential. Enzymes are essential for digestion. You can't digest your food without them. The liver can't work without them. Many, many, many more things in your body are done by enzymes. They fight bacteria and so forth as well. Too much or too little of a certain enzyme can cause health enzymes and likely spontaneous combustion. Alright, I either showed you or will show you the Russian hacker spitting out all that foam, which was oxygen. It really is bubbles of oxygen. And that's what catalase does, and it's in your body. Let me read to you what it says here. Catalase is a common enzyme, and that's what it looks like. Very, very elegant. Found in nearly all living organisms that are exposed to oxygen, which catalyzes the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. That's H2O2, not H2O. It breaks it down to water and oxygen. That's why when he put the blood in that hydrogen peroxide, it all bubbled up and turned the hydrogen peroxide into water and released oxygen bubbles. That's what he did. It's very important enzyme in protecting the cell from oxidation damage by reactive oxygen. Now, I'm just guessing, but we're talking about oxygen and heat and all that. Now, what you're looking at right there is nothing more than this. Now, you see what I'm saying? These are all magnetic particles. Every one of these is a magnetic particle. And all you have to do is go clip like that, and you just destroyed this. It won't ever work again. That's called denatured. It's taken it out of its natural nature state. It'll normally stay just like this. It'll never change. But when it clicks, click like that to these other chemistries, instantaneously, because magnetism works at the speed of light. So instantaneously, all will go at the same time, just like you saw that oxygen. All right, don't forget, he didn't start any fires or anything. But when you have that much oxygen going on in your body, now it's not going to go like that and explode the guy's body, but it's going to, and then oxidation causes heat. And that's all I can take out of this. I don't know. But here's going to happen again. He puts it in here. Now think about how fast this reaction is happening. How many water molecules are being changed. I mean, just instantly. Watch. Boom. There's thousands and thousands of
tell me in
bubbles.
comments below, why does it happen scientifically?
I know scientifically, and I just showed you, brother. I love you, man. You guys, I tell you, these Russians, I know they're in trouble right now, but they are good scientists in general, and I wish, this whole thing was over, and this got to stop, this kind of stuff. Everywhere in the world, somehow people got to get along together. But I'm going to stay out of all that. This is what I want to tell you, brother. It is the evasion of the molecule, and it is just exactly like this. This is click chemistry. As soon as you click it to one set of molecules, they all go all at one shot. Now don't forget, this is so specific. The only thing that makes this, is bacteria. Bacteria are the programmers and the chemists in your body. And they make it exactly where it's supposed to be. If this goes like that, that's it, you're done. This doesn't work anymore. It has to be exactly perfect, because when it comes up to the molecules that it's going to affect, you're going to hit about 100 different sites, thousands maybe, I don't know. And bang, as soon as it clicks, everybody goes. Instantly, speed of light. All right, check this out. Combustion is a complex set of chemical reactions. They're not saying it's burning. They're not saying it's flames. They're saying it's a complex set of chemistry that results in the rapid oxidation of a fuel. What is a fuel? The fats and the stuff that's in your body are fuel. And where does that fuel come from? From the blood. I'll show you that in a second. The rapid oxidation, which you just saw, the catalase certainly gave you some rapid oxidation, produces heat, light, and a variety of chemical byproducts, like slimy grease all over the people's house. Now, I believe you saw the Russian hacker. He was pouring blood. Blood is nothing more than it's plasma and with watery substances and all these transition metals. This is how your body runs. All of these oxidation states. We've been just talking oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. These are all, look, transition metals form colored compounds and complexes. The colors can vary depending on the charge on the metal ion, the number of type of groups of atoms called ligands. These are oxidation states. +3, +5, +6. Alright, so oxidation. Okay, I gotta be honest with you. I did all the stuff I just did before I finished up this video. I'm kind of surprised to see that his conclusion is that pretty much most of them can be explained. And he's talking about somebody tapping out their pipe just prior and the light on the kitchen stove and so forth. Now listen to what he has to say.
Ashes. The kitchen window is open, which caused the cross breeze. Burning ash could have caught that breeze and landed on Jeannie, who is wearing a flammable polyester dress.
Yeah, lots of would haves and could haves in your theory, Mr. Holmes.
Exactly.
I know there is. Because if you dismiss spontaneous human combustion as fiction, you have to work with the facts that you have, no matter how much of a stretch. Now, there are plenty of people who believe in spontaneous human combustion. Scientists, police officers, even fire investigators. They all say the same thing. They never believed in the phenomenon until they ran across a case or multiple cases that couldn't be explained. Then they changed from skeptic to believer. Occam's razor says the simplest answer is usually the correct one. I believe that the vast majority of spontaneous human combustion cases can be explained. Elderly smokers living alone with mobility issues who have a fondness for drink. Now, they're at risk from all sorts of things, not least of which dying in a tragic accidental fire. The simplest answer is usually the correct one, but not always. Sometimes the correct answer is not so simple. Sometimes the answer is so difficult that it's completely beyond our understanding. If spontaneous human combustion is real, there's probably not much we can do to protect ourselves and avoid it. But if you're an overweight elderly smoker enjoying a martini by the fire, wear nice shoes, because at some point that might be all that's left of you.
All right. That's very interesting. He was right on target, right up to the end where it sounds like he doesn't really fully engage with the idea that it's true. But I'm going to tell you something right now. People don't burn like that unless they burn internally from the inside out. You don't combust somehow, get burning from the outside in. And even the people from the crematoriums, if you watch the whole thing, they say it had to be 2,000, 3,000 degrees in a crematorium for hours, which obviously didn't happen. The whole rooms didn't burn up. There was papers a foot away, not even. And they didn't burn. Why? It was a chemical reaction, not a fire. It wasn't necessarily a fire. You'd smell smoke, and it might eventually turn into a fire, but it would start out as a chemical reaction. Okay, you remember the crazy Russian hacker. You may have to go watch this a couple times, but listen to this. oxidative, oxygen, right? Did you see when he poured the blood in, oxygen just poured out? Oxygen stress harms and benefits for human health. Well, let's just see what it says about it right here. It's very simple. Oxidative stress. And here it is. It starts right out by talking about the hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. Super radicals, O2 oxygen. Hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, not water. Hydroxyl radicals, OH, singlet oxygen, are commonly defined reactive oxygen species generated as metabolic. That means as you metabolize and use products, they're metabolic byproducts by biological systems, which is us. Now, something with this alcohol could very well be, but oxidative stress, reactive oxidative stress, I believe is playing a big role in this. That's what I could take away from it. It's this oxidative, reactive breakdown of things. I'm going to go with that.